All right then. So in the previous session, we just discussed how to find the Fibonacci series, right? The program to find the Fibonacci series. So in that, we discussed how to write the beginner level coding stuff and how to optimize that coding stuff by reducing the number of lines with the more elegant and neat code. And now I'm going to give you the most advanced code in the modern JavaScript, how to write in a single line. So let's go ahead and write that. So for that, I'm just going to comment all these things. I don't want this stuff. So let me comment all these out. Okay. So let us clean it up over here and let's start writing. So const Fibonacci, which is equals to, right? So now we are going to supply the number of terms into this function. So let's say n terms, something like that. Now I'm gonna make sure that n terms it's not lesser than 0. So n terms it should not be less than or equals to 0. If in case say so, then I should return the empty array. So in this case we achieved the very first function, very first condition. And then if not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an array with that n terms. So this is going to return the array of elements with that particular n term starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on, right? We know that array will always start from 0. Then I'm going to use this fill method. Okay, so we're going to use the fill method, and we can change an array elements from starting to end index by using the static values by what we are up to calculate over here. Okay, so in that I'm gonna give the index, okay, the value. Then I'm going to use the map function. Okay, so now what we have to do is sorry. So now over here, next what I need to do is in the map function. Okay, so I'm gonna access the value. That is the one value. Then I'm gonna access the index number, which is going to be I. Then I'm going to access the array, the complete array itself, which I have generated over here. We need to access the complete array. Then I'm going to use the arrow function. If the I less than 2, then I just need to return that particular index itself. Or else what I have to do is a of I minus 1 plus a of I minus 2. That's quite exactly the same logic which we did over here. Okay, so now if you save these changes, this is how it looks. So here we are trying to check the condition. If it less than or equals to 0, return as an empty array. Then we are trying to create a number of array by using the fill method. Then we are using the map function to access that complete array along with the index. Then we are doing a lot of stuff. All right. Let's check this out whether it is working fine or not first. Copy this, do it over here. I hope it should work. Node index.js. Uh-oh. I think we made a mistake. We made a mistake. We made a mistake. Somewhere we made a mistake. What it would be. So the condition n terms, it's correct. We are checking n less than or equals to 0. If it is say so, returning an array. Then we are trying to create an array of n terms with that. Then we are using the fill and we are supplying the 0 index. Then we are using the map function. We are fetching the value and the index and the array itself. Inside there, this is the place where the confusion it's getting messed up. Okay, so somehow this is the place we messed up. This is the place. So here, I less than 2 ternary operator. Then I just need to return I, or else I'm just going to return a of I minus 1, then plus a of I minus 2. Okay, why it is wrapping it up? Hmm. It is not supposed to wrap it inside this. bracket. Let us break this condition as well as then let's see. uh mm, mm, mm. Let me bring my code which I already have in my hand. Let's compare that and what mistake we do have. Getting the terms, okay, array of n, fill of 0. Okay, then using the dot map function, accessing the, okay, then using the array function, I less than 2 with the ternary operator, returning the I value. Then a of I plus a of 2, both are kind of look exactly the same only. Okay. I think there is an issue with this 0. That's the reason right after the sequence, it's keep on filling the value as 0. You're not supposed to fill the value as 0. Ah, it's my bad. So my coding, which I given you the example, the single liner one, it's not working as it's expected. So that's the wrong. Let's try in a different approach. Okay. So here all we have to do is to, let's say, array dot from. So the previous code, why it's not working, it's because when you try to the very first two index, it will work perfectly because that's a 0 and 1. It's written 0 and 1 perfectly in this condition. Okay. Then when it start moving on to the I index of 2, at that point the a of 1 plus a of 0 will become always be 0 only because of this fill method which we have. There is no point of adding and until that perfect terms because it is always 0 because of the fill method which I have. I didn't check that, my bad. So let's correct this mistakes just by using let's say array dot from. Using this function, I'm going to create an array by using the length of this n terms, right, which starts from 0 1 2 and so on. Then right after this, I'm going to use this reduce method, open it. Then I'm going to access that value. Then the first one, which is going to be this, you can see that's the previous value. Then you can access the current value. I don't need the current value. Then I can access the current index. That's the index which we needed. So inside here, I'm going to create an array. So let's say we have to destructure all the previous values which we have. Then along with that, if the I value is less than 2, at that point I have to return the I, or else I have to say echo the ACC of I minus 1 plus ACC of I minus 2. Okay, that's how it's going to do that. Then at the uh, end of all these stuffs, all I have to do, I have to return an empty array while you are doing this reduce calculations and everything. Okay. Okay, so now let's try this one. I hope this should work. Let's see. And there we go. So we are getting the exactly the same out over here. So previously we made a mistake by using fill of, which is going to fill that particular value with the 00001. So here, but we are not using that fill, but we are creating an array with that in the specific terms with that. So it is going to create that specific values, 0 1 2 3 4, that something like that. Then we are going to use the reduce function accessing the previous values, and we are accessing current value. Then we are accessing the index, spread out all the previous value. Then we are accessing the index, checking the condition. If that is less than 2, return the I with that specific positions, or we are going to do that reducing functions, accessing that index, and we are reducing it. Okay, by this way we can return that complete sequence, or we are going to return an empty array. So that's what happening over here. We are getting that complete value over here, which is exactly the perfect thing which we needed. All right, cool. Oh, now we have ourselves returned a complete most advanced way of having that Fibonacci series, and optimized and cleaner version for the beginner level and the beginner level stuff which we have in our hand. All right, so let's move on to the next question.